Hi, I'm Jesse Ahmet, your host of Valley News Now, and I'm so excited to bring you the guest I have with me today. It's Yvette Reyes, and she is the owner, operator, teacher of FM Aerial and Movement Arts. And when we call you Yeti in studio, that's like your little nickname. But Yvette has a phenomenal story, and I was really excited to get to share it. I got to meet you about a year ago when I started at your studio. So tell us first, what is FM Aerial and Movement Arts? What does that even mean?
Yeah, so it's kind of a really long name for all of the things that we encompass, which is we teach aerial arts, which can be like the metal hoop that is suspended from the ceiling, and also the fabrics, which a lot of people like to call the ribbons or the curtains. So the two pieces of fabrics, that's also something that we specialize in, and we also teach pole dancing classes. So we have two studios, like two separate rooms,
Mm-hmm.
and in one room, we teach all of the pole classes, and in the other room, we teach all of the aerial arts classes and the youth classes as well.
And yeah, you just started, or not maybe just started, but within the last few months, started youth classes.
Yes, so it's actually been a little bit more than a few months. So,
Oh, okay.
one of our new teachers, well, I say new, as in like she moved here a couple of years ago, but
Yeah.
she taught youth aerial in Oregon. And then when she moved here, she ended up finding us, and I was like, hey, like this is something I've always wanted to offer, but I personally am scared of kids. So I'm like, I don't understand. I mean, I don't understand like how like small bodies and like they're so
True.
confident, and how do you keep them safe?
Yes.
So she came in with a plan, and she was like, this is what you need, like this. And we started in, I want to say it was last year, where we started having like silks classes. So now we do have
Wow.
silks classes for kids, and they are, I used to be scared, but like they're my favorite. They're my favorite to
Really?
teach because they're so sassy and so strong.
They're so strong and so fearless, too.
Yes.
Yes, I know doing it starting as an adult, like, so I started last year, so I'd have been 46. And there's just things you don't even realize you're afraid of, like just trying to like go upside down. You might have the strength, but you're just afraid of it and you haven't done it. You haven't been on a swing or a playground in a long time.
Yeah, I feel like as adults put a lot of like restrictions on themselves. So
Yes.
they're like, I'm too this, or I'm not
Yep.
enough of this. And there's also the very real, just the reality of like as we get older, like it is more dangerous to do things.
Right.
So, and bills are expensive. So like
Right.
that.
There's that too. There's that too. So much to talk about. Okay, talking about cost. I'm just going to jump there because I recently saw you redid your website, and I think you have made it extremely affordable for people to do with the couple of different membership options you have. And so I know people don't really remember numbers, and we don't need to go through all of that. But just to say that I'm going to bring people to your website really fast. Let's see if I can manage all these screens. Okay. Well, here is your Facebook page, and I was reading your story on your website, but I just want to take people to it's fmaerial.com, and you've got the membership options there. And it is, like I said, just very affordable. That's kind of all you need to know for now, and you can look up the rest of it later. And I just think like the best money I have spent on myself in my life, maybe. I mean, besides like therapy, like it is physical therapy, but also emotional therapy as well.
Yeah, I feel like the part that people don't really like understand when they first come in is a couple of things. Like first is like a lot of people feel like they have to be strong already
Right.
to start classes,
Nope.
and second they're like, oh, like it's just a class that I take, but it's so much more than just a class
It is.
because there's also other people that are in that class that are also very supportive, and everybody understands. Like there's some things very related to aerial and pole that are like specific to what we do,
Yeah.
where it's like, okay, this is like a bonding experience, like this is really hard, but we're doing it together and it sucks together, and then one
Together.
day it doesn't suck and you're like, wow, I am an amazing human being.
Yes. And then when you get to do a trick that you've been working on forever, yeah, everybody celebrates with you because they also know how difficult it is and how much work it takes to do it. But it's also so satisfying. I don't know. I think it's amazing. And I love the community that you've created. I think on your website, you have a statement. about creating and cultivating community. You could maybe say it better than I can, but it's so true. The energy in your studio, it's such a welcoming, just confidence building environment. I just want to thank you for having that in the community as an available thing that people can do.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that because for me, Fargo is home.
Yeah,
I grew up in Crookston, Minnesota, and I my family is still in this area, so I'm like I personally don't want to leave.
nice.
And so it's really important for me to create a space where personally I feel like this is something that grounds me because there's so many people that come to the Fargo Moorhead area and they're only here for
Yeah,
a short time.
true.
Like they're here for like 2 years or like I'm just getting back on my feet and I'm on to other things. But I'm like, well, I am here for those people that want to just stop in, but also for the people that see themselves staying here long term.
Oh, I love that. I love it. Yes, and you're very involved in the community in other ways too. We need to do multiple interviews because there's so many things to talk about that you do, Yeti. Um, let's see. Oh, I want to talk a little bit about your story because you have such a great story. And if people could see like your whole person, she is this like tiny little cute ball of energy that I know you're like not 19, but you kind of look 19, and you're like ageless. You do not age. And so tell us where you started. um, yeah, just tell us the college. Um, what's the word I'm looking for? The journey that started out as I'm going to go to college and ended up in a really different place.
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, a little bit about myself is that I am a first generation American. So my parents came from other countries. My mom is from Guatemala and my dad is from Mexico. And so it was always drilled into me that education will take you to greater heights,
Yeah,
and will be what's going to save you from like the position that you are in right now. So
sure.
there's a lot of emphasis on education, and making yourself into this person to be proud of, but also to like help your family and your community.
Yeah,
And so for me, my whole basically life, because I mean, in school, like all you know is school and like the
yep,
people around you. So I'm like, I am going to get into an Ivy League school. I'm like,
yeah,
I am going to go to the best of the best, and I'm going to do this so that my family can be proud of me, but also that I can be proud of myself.
yeah.
So I ended up leaving my small town when I was 17 years old, and I went to an international boarding school. It's called United World Colleges,
Wow.
which is like a big, well, I guess it's not that big, but it's like a system of international schools. And
Yeah.
there's one in New Mexico. So that's the one where I ended up going, an international boarding school in New Mexico. So it wasn't Italy, like where had been hoping to go,
Right,
but it
right.
was an incredible experience. And all of my friends like were from other countries. Like
Cool.
there's just so much to learn, and it was a really incredible experience.
Nice.
So if you know any like 10th or 11th graders that want to finish out their high school in an international boarding school, all of the U.S. kids are on a full ride scholarship. So
Oh,
if you get
wow.
in, your tuition is paid for, but you just have to like get to the school. So that's
That's
something that
amazing. There's
yeah,
all these
it's
little things out there that we don't really know about, and that's what I want to do is connect people to those things. So what a cool thing. I mean, that's just like a little side bonus for us today.
yeah, it's something that my mom didn't believe in. She was like, "This is too good to be true. Like
It does
it's
sound
tied
that
to
way.
something dark." Yeah, yeah, it sounds that way. So she came with me, and she was like, "Okay, like this is legitimate. Like I'm not giving my daughter to something."
Right,
So
right.
it
Something
was,
weird, yeah.
yeah, something weird. So I ended up graduating, and I was accepted into the first women's college in the U.S., which is called Mount Holyoke
Wow.
in the East Coast, and ended up like in my mind as like, okay, once you get accepted into college, like there's
Yeah.
no way that you can't go.
Right.
So I talked to my parents, and they're like, actually, we can't afford the $10,000 a semester.
Right.
I had been receiving all of these grants, but even with that, I still wasn't afford to go. I still wasn't able to afford to go to college. And so unfortunately, I was like, okay, like this is my reality.
Right.
Like my family was just unable to pay, even with like the possibility of loans.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't seem like a big amount of money, but like where I
Oh,
came
it is
from, I'm like, this is for me unreachable.
unreachable.
Um,
Yep. Yep.
so at that point, I was like, okay, in my mind, I was like, I need to pivot. And how am I going to pivot so that this doesn't ever happen to me again?
Oh, wow.
And by that, I mean like so that I can be financially independent.
Mm-hmm.
So I did a Google search and I was like, what is a trade that will give me like a living wage? Or what is a trade that's like the highest paid or once you're out of school?
Yeah.
And what ended up coming up was the welding school. So I ended up going to welding school.
And
I
how much did you
enrolled.
know about welding at the time there, Yvette?
I knew absolutely zero. I had no idea what welding was. I didn't know that there was electricity involved. I didn't know that I would start myself on fire multiple times. So like it was an adventure
Yes.
for me.
I love that that didn't even occur to you. You didn't care about that. You're like, this is going to make me a good wage. This thing that had been my dream all this time, it didn't work out. I'm not going to let that happen to me again. Here I go. That's incredible.
Yes. Here we go. I also needed a way to pay for it. So I ended up,
Yeah.
I worked two jobs. I worked at a bus manufacturing place, the second shift. So I would get off from school and then I would go work 8 hours because they didn't allow me to go part time. And
Oh
then
my
I would
gosh.
work at the gas station on the weekends. So I was working 7 days a week and sleeping not very much
No.
because all of the, so East Grand Forks is the school that's like 15, 20 minutes away from me, but that
Okay.
one was completely booked. So I ended up going to Thief River Falls, which had openings, but that was 45 minutes away. So
Oh
it's the
wow.
commute every single day in the winter when you like
Yeah.
think you can see the lines. So like you just go for it. um, so it's very intense
Yes.
training, but it accomplished what I set out to do, which was I received a diploma. I moved to Fargo because that's the place that gave me my first job offer, and I only meant to stay for 3 months, but here I am, eight 8 years later, um, and so I think, still at the place where I was working, there's probably, I think, just one or two people, actually, just one like lady welder. Two. There's two. There's one on days
Wow.
and one on nights, as far as I know. So for me, it was a very different environment
Yeah.
working in like a male dominated
Mm-hmm.
place and being small and everybody wants to talk to you and be your friend. And I'm like, I don't know about that.
You're like, I got a job to do and I work at another job, so I'm exhausted. Like, I'm sure you had no energy for like social anything.
Yeah, when I went to welding school, I feel so bad because people would try to be friends with me and I just didn't have the energy to laugh at
Yeah.
their jokes. I'm like, I'm so sorry, but I'm like, I'm not here right now.
I can't even
Um,
laugh. Well, you're making up for it with all the relationships and friendships that you have now. I mean, you're just an integral part to not only FM Aerial and Movement Arts, of course, but to our community as well. So that you needed to be able to sleep, and then all of the relationship stuff comes out.
Sleep is so important. Yes, sleep 100%. Yes. So, and then while I was going to school, or not school, once I was an actual welder, I ended up so that's where I found like the aerial arts and the pole. So I
Cool.
ended up taking classes just because I was trying to find friends. And then I ended up being really involved and learning as much as I could. And ended up buying the studio I was training at because the owner wanted to move on. And so once a student, then I became the owner. And it was very intense because I'm like,
Scary.
who's going to listen to me? Yeah, scary. I'm like, I'm 23 years old at the time. Like, no one's gonna see me as an authority figure. Um, so I feel like still it's kind of hard to feel that.
But you do command that authority because yes, you're cute and small and adorable and all of those things and sweet and nice, but you have that experience, that education, and that confidence that you see that just shines through you in such a positive way that it brings it to other people too. You know, it isn't that kind of confidence that people shy away from. It's the kind that draws you in and is like inspiring. So just I think you know this, but we all kind of think you're amazing and inspiring, and what you do at the studio really changes our lives in and when we go out. You know, I think it sounds maybe silly to people who haven't done it, but when you do something like aerial arts and you accomplish something you didn't think you could accomplish, you know, like you said, you don't have to be strong to come. You can learn, and there's a lot of learning. But when you accomplish something like that, you know you can go out into the rest of your life and accomplish big things too. And that's what you're doing for all those people, Yvette.
Thank you. Yeah, the confidence building, I'm like, at least for me, I strive to be like super welcoming because I am just generally a very curious person.
Yes.
I'm like, who are you? Like, what made you want to come and try this?
Yes.
But being able to see students go from um, like the first couple of classes to seeing how they are if they decide to stick with it like 6 months later,
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. I'm like, you are so strong, like so much more confident, and it all like I just feel like so much joy seeing people like just the joy that they bring to the studio and like the confidence they have in themselves. Like that's something that really propels me forward. I really enjoy
Hmm.
that part.
You can tell it really feeds your soul. And like you were saying, you know, being nervous about, oh, are people going to see me as an authority figure? But I think more than anything, what that space needed was your welcoming. You know, you're accepting and welcoming, and you're just perfect for that. It's my goal to just make you blush all over the place. Well, I kind of want to show a little bit about you performing. So let's see. Um, I think on the home screen there's a little video. There it is, Cultivating a Healthy Community. And here you are kind of a little bit getting ready for a performance, and it is so beautiful to watch you. I gotta at least get in a couple little turns there. Oh, it's incredible. But you teach us how to do it, which is really amazing. And here's your Instagram too, so you can check Yeti out at FM Aerial. Let's see, I think it's fmaerial.com, FM Aerial and Movement Arts on Instagram and on Facebook. And I want to get back to your pretty face. There you are. What other information would you have for people or suggest if someone's like, okay, that sounds really cool, but there's no way I can do that?
Yeah, I feel like if you feel that way, you are a normal human being. Like everybody has those feelings. We all have the feelings of like, oh, like trying new things is so hard as an adult. It
It
is
is.
so hard.
Yep.
So I would say that even if you feel like it's not the time, like it's honestly never going to be the time. So this is me, the universe, being like, hey, if you've been interested at all, like just give it a one-time try. Like you
Yeah.
don't have to like commit for however much time.
Right.
Like just try it one time to see like how you're feeling. And even that is like a little boost of confidence too, because afterwards you can be like, oh, like I tried a thing.
Right.
But just so everybody knows, like this is a space where we love like new people, like because we understand like just how hard it can be.
Hmm.
So it's really exciting to have people just come in and give it a try. And I
Yep.
promise that it will get better. Like it looks really exciting, and then you take your first class and you're like, wow, like this was sometimes like you don't feel it. Like especially with the pole classes, like you come in and you're like, that didn't feel like a workout. But then the next day you're like,
You're
wow,
like
these are
sore.
some muscles I never knew existed before. Um, so I would say that aerial arts and pole will 100% keep your interest. It's
Hmm.
always there's always new ways to create once you become comfortable with the movements, and it's also kind of like a way to release or work through like your emotions as well if that's
It
something that
is. It's incredible what kind of wants to come out when you start doing those things.
you.
And like you said too, just such a welcoming space. Everybody's welcome, all sizes, all shapes. I mean, unless I don't know, you'd maybe have to be like 8 feet tall to be too tall to do like the silks or something. But
Yeah, our space is unfortunately not that tall. I want to say that our rating points are at 12 feet, because that's where the insurance also cuts off. So like,
oh, okay, interesting. It's plenty high
um,
for me. It's plenty high. I think you'd have to be really, really ginormously tall for it to not work for you.
yes, so definitely give it a try. We also created these things called intro workshops. So if
Yeah,
you're interested in giving it a try, our intro workshops are like 90 minutes. The aerial one is 45 minutes of the silks and 45 minutes of the lyra. So if you wanted to try them both, there's one class for it.
that's
And I want to
perfect.
say that we also cater to like, so for me, I used to work night shift, and I
Mm,
knew that it was really hard to like find any classes that
yes.
were something that I could do. um, so I ended up creating daytime classes. So we have daytime classes and also morning classes too.
It is nice. Yes, your variety is really great. I used to work a different shift too, and it's difficult to like find a class that you could go to, but there was always options at your studio. So I appreciate that. And yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the intro classes. So make sure to check out the website because there's a lot of new options and mother like big little classes where you can take with your child. That's fairly exciting. And there's parties too. Maybe just quick the parties, and then I'll finally let you go.
Yeah. Yeah, so parties, whether it's bachelorette parties, birthday parties, or even just team building parties, we have the option for renting out the studio to take like a private group class. Those are available to book online, but if you would like to book like a, say, team building party, we
That's a
are
great
available
idea.
during the day. So if you want to give us a quick email, that's something that we could absolutely help set up for you.
That would be phenomenal. Let's see. Oh, look, everybody's coming back into the newsroom. You can see behind me from their morning meeting. I think I should sign them up. We should do team building aerial arts for sure. That would be a lot of fun. It'd be a good team builder. Well, thank you so much, Yeti. I appreciate your time. I took a significant amount of it today, but I appreciate it. Lots to say, and I just want to thank you again so much for providing the environment that you do and for being the inspirational, hard-working person that you are. Just keep it up, girl.
Thanks, Jesse. I super appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Have a wonderful day, and I'm sure we'll see you this week.